by mistake, unknowingly. Tonight, they go down. In Genesis 29, if you read verse 16, now you see something happen there. It was still the same Hagar. I told you she's an Egyptian maid. You don't go to Egypt and come back the same person. Every time you venture into sin, sin has a way of leaving traces. Abraham didn't come back from that journey the same person. Eve and Hagar silently followed him. And he didn't know that something was brewing. Now look at what happened. This is another encounter after she had been sent away by her mother, Sarah, with a child this time because the child began to torment. I said something. I once told us that when I was preaching on the ministry of Ishmael or something. And I said, if you are not patient with God, you will give birth to an Ishmael that will fight your Isaac. Your Isaac is a promised son. But every time you want to help God achieve that result, God may come later, but he never comes late. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
He may show up later, but God doesn't come late.
Yes, sir.
His delay is not denial. I always tell us, God can't trust you if he can't train you. His training process certain times are not very palatable. You may go through things you can't even explain. Certain times you look like God is far away from you. Just hold on. Just do what? Job in Job 20, Job said, I looked for him at the right hand, I couldn't find him. I looked for him in front, I couldn't find him. Look for him behind. So, but when I looked for him at the left hand side, I've told that message before here, at the left hand side of God. So it is there I discovered that God does work. And I told you, you can't sit on the right hand side of God if you have not gone through his left hand side. That left hand side is not the reason why. You must go through that left hand side. At that point, it looks like even like you said, you can't interpret what is happening to you. Looks like the more you are praying, you are sinking. Look like God is far away, but he's never far away. He's taking you through a process. Even Jesus had to go through the cross before he could get the crown. Am I communicating?
Yes,
because without the cross, there can be no crown. Don't try to help God. His process. Even though it's not looking like it is what he told you, hold on to him. There are many things I love God for. One of them is that God cannot lie. Am I communicating?
Yes.
God cannot do what? He
Lie.
cannot lie. And he can't learn it with you. No, you are not getting it. He can't do what? Be patient. You're trying to help him and trying to maneuver. You will give birth to an Ishmael that will fight your Isaac. Now, Ishmael began to trouble Isaac. The mother Sarah was not happy about it. And had to send them away. Now look at what happened on their way. Because that is a child that came by covenant, sponsored from altars. In verse 16 of Genesis 21. And the Bible says, okay, let me start from 15. And the water was spent in the bottle. Now she was going out, and Abraham gave her water and bread. And I told you, water and bread is a sign of foolishness. Jesus gave to us as a church bread and wine. Am I communicating? So water and bread is a sign of foolishness. Himself know he did foolishly. And I was trying to push away his mistake. Listen, it's not every mistake you can push away easily. Yes, sir. I know church don't like it. I hear you, sir. There are some mistakes that they stop with you. It takes mercy. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. In verse 16. And she went and sat her down over against him. When the Bible says over against him, means opposite him. A good way off. And as it were, a bow shot. She shifted, she gave him a little distance. And the Bible said, for she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. Take note. She lifted up her voice and did what? Wept. Now, verse 17 told us why she was crying. She was crying because she does not want to witness the death of the child. Now, but look at what happened in verse 17. And God heard the voice of who? Of the lad, not the woman, not the Egyptian. A woman was crying, and her voice was not heard. But the voice of a covenant child was what God calls attention. I've told you that God is not moved with our tears. He's only moved when he sees a sincere heart that wants to worship him. A broken and a contrite spirit. The Bible says God cannot do what? A woman, the mother was crying, but it was the voice of the Lord. It was not just about the child's voice, it was a voice of the covenant. A voice that was coming from an altar. Because he is of the loins of a man who had encountered God. And the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee? The child cannot speak. The child does not understand. But the child is in somebody's custody. Am I talking to the right?
Yes, sir.
God was asking the woman in whose custody the child was. What exactly is troubling you? I always tell us this as parents. We must be very careful. Because the kind of altar you raise for your children goes a long way in determining what becomes of them. Even Jesus as a baby, even though he was born, the angel had to tell Joseph, take this child and what? Run away with this child. Because at this level, the child should enjoy the coverage, spiritual coverage of the parents. The question is, what altar as a parent have you raised? What altar? If Joseph had not listened to the voice of that angel, they would have killed Jesus. But the Spirit of God told me that his body wouldn't have decayed, but he would have died. Now, I don't know what would have happened to redemption. A woman was crying. It was the baby's voice, a covenant. A voice that is coming from an altar. That was what God had, not even the voice of the Lord. And God was asking the woman instead of the child, because the child at that moment can't take a decision of his own. What is troubling you? The Bible told us in the later verse that her eyes were open to see a well of water. So the well has been there, but she couldn't see until divinity touched her. So these people are not getting this. I hear you. There are certain opportunities around you, but some of them you can't see until there's a touch from heaven. Yes, sir. This year, in that your working place, in that place where you're doing business, the hand of God will come upon you. Amen. To discover opportunities around you. Amen. This amen is not sounding like a believer. Listen, the Bible said, in the beginning, God created. Genesis chapter 1, the very book of the beginning. The question is, this is January. The year is still fresh. Programs like this are designed that we deposit what we want to see into the year. We pregnant the year with our words. The question is, what are you creating? 2025, I've told you, everything created by God has ears. Has what? Yes. Whether you believe it. Even the Englishman told you that the words have what? Yes. And nothing happens around us by mistake. If you are not speaking into your ear, if you're not speaking into your children, you're not speaking into your family, somebody else will be doing the talking for you. Life hates vacuum. Life hates what? Vacuum. Life has a word feeling. If you have not built an altar, this is what I'm going to now, that can speak for you, or you have not developed enough strength with God to raise down the altar that is in your family, wrong altar. Believe you me, it doesn't matter how anointed you are, but you intentionally deal with these altars, they can make nonsense of you. They don't have respect for your anointing. You can ask Elisha. Elisha got the double portion of the anointing that was on Elijah. And yet the Bible told us in 2 Kings 13. Elisha died of his own sickness. Was he manufactured sickness? It was the sickness that killed his father. The sickness that runs in the family line that held a man of God of that status down. Now, the voice of an altar was heard. And God responded. I've told you an altar is a place of covenants. Covenants are made of altars. Covenants are sustained on altars. And also covenants are also altered on altars. The quality of your altar determines the quality of your life. Altars can make a man, they can also destroy a man. Altar is like a spiritual airport. Spirit lands there and take off from there. The altar is a place where humanity meets spirit beings. And I've told you, whether you like believe it or not, life is not designed to be lived alone. Man is not designed to live alone without the interference of spirits. Something must be relating with him. And it's either a good spirit or a negative one. Every human being on earth functions from the standpoint of what? Of an altar. Whether you like what I'm telling you or not. Everybody. If you have not built strength with God in the place of prayer, in the place of holy living, in the place of studying the word of God, coming consistently and constantly to God's presence, where we learn and unlearn certain things, and then we begin to fight, because it's striving to be like Him. Believe you me, another negative altar will be busy sucking your life. A woman was crying. The voice of a child that was better from an altar. I told us part of what Israel enjoyed as a nation, and is still enjoying till today, was because of the foundations of the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The altar that were raised. You know, Trump is not president yet, and already he has declared Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. You see what's happening around Israel? Even they know. So it's not about what they know. They are being sustained by a spirit entity. They know it. They know. That's why United Nations can be telling them don't do this. They go ahead and do what they are doing. Because they know that they are enjoying a backing that is not in your humanity. They know it from an altar. I told us in number 22, the Bible said when in the last verse of number 22, the Bible said, Balaam, how you know the story, Balak and Balaam, the king of Moab, hired Balaam to curse the children of Israel. The Bible says in the last verse of chapter 22, he brought him in numbers. He brought him to a place of Baal so that he can see the utmost part. Why did he bring him there? Because no curse can hold a man down. No curse can hold a destiny down if it's not sponsored from an altar. When a battle persists, when a battle persists, you have fought it, you are not understanding it. It has lasted for it completely. That battle is coming from an altar. Yes, sir. Altars have a way of manipulating people. One of the ways altars destroy lives, after my negative ones, is that they begin to influence your thinking. They begin to manipulate you to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yes, you just see somebody, listen, that will be called thought, thinking. I'm just thinking, you are not thinking. That thing you are calling thinking is a spirit suggesting something to you. Yes, sir. This year I'll be opening us up to certain things. The problem is that many people in church don't understand the realm of the spirit. They don't understand altars. They don't understand warfare. You see this program, I'll be teaching us certain things. You need to know them. Because life is spiritual. Until you understand the spirituality of life, you're already a failure. Listen, every great man you see in any sphere of endeavor, every one of them is functioning from the standpoint of an altar. Forget about the laugh on television. All of them know what they are touching. Yes, sir. I don't think this church is there. Yes, every one of them know what they are doing. What? There's something they are servicing, and it's either a godly altar or a negative altar. And mind you, if you are doing business with Satan, you must know that he will take from you bigger than whatever he has given to you. Yes, it is only the blessings of God that makes rich, and it doesn't come with sorrow. Everything that comes through Satan, if he gives you a wristwatch, he will take your hand. He will always take something from you that is bigger than whatever he has given to you. If he gives you a cap, your head is going for it. Yes. Every great man, whether in politics, in medicine, in business, whether in ministry, even in church, every one of them is functioning from the standpoint of what? Please know this. None of them is listen. Now, when we talk about altar, you must understand it's very important to have this knowledge. In Africa, we know that 99% of our families, forefathers, meddled with certain things that were not godly. Many of them were involved in some human sacrifice. I told you, God said to me that, when ministering like this, some people came from families. That's why I look at some people and they are like a difficult attitude in church. Sometimes I just wonder. You're coming from a family where you know that human blood was used to service the altar there. And be serious with God. You are acting like trafficator. You think it's just die. No, we open us up to some things. I may not exhaust the message today. We'll continue to go. We need to understand something. Your level of consecration in God should be higher than whatever they did. If you must silence those words. The question was asked. And the person said, why is that? I think I've said it there before. Occultic men do something and they get results. And even believers sometimes we go to do the same thing and we don't get results. I answered the question as I go, and I went to God in prayer. I said, Lord, how about this? And he said, those people are very diligent in their service to the temple. Yes. Okay. And in the realm of the spirit, your commitment and consecration matters. God is a God of justice. Don't think they are getting. Yeah, get you, sir. An occultic man who is fighting you would get instruction from whatever altar, and some of the times they will go and stay by the graveyard 7 nights. And you are sleeping and snoring as a believer. Some of them would sacrifice newborn babies in order to ensure that the destiny of the family where they came from are tied down. And only there for us. And a believer who lacks understanding will just come out and die by fire, die by fire. Church, you are not. You don't have any business with God. To live a holy and righteous life, you are acting like a trafficator. Your prayer altar is weak. And somebody say, God, why are things happening to me? You have to sit up. God told me he is a God of justice. Listen, I've told you in this church before, God is not the God of Christians. Is it like that in the Bible? Yes. The Bible calls him the God of all flesh. He sends his way to the righteous and to the wicked. The realm of the spirit is an open. I think maybe because of these things, I will teach us, I will take us a little deeper into what the realm of the spirit looks like. Listen, because it's not for a pastor only to be able to access certain things. If it's just only an exclusive reserve of a pastor, that pastor is a witch, a wizard. If you don't allow people access into certain things, where they can stand from, in their standpoint with God, where they can correct certain things, it's a sign of witchcraft. I don't know if I'm telling you. Whatever dimension God have allowed you mercy to see, others too should be able to see it. That's the beauty of a good leader. Altars. The year I've started, listen, believe you me, whether you like what I'm telling you or not, I'm not telling you to please you. There are people from the families where we came from who have serviced certain kinds of altars. Whether you believe what I'm telling you, because I've told you, okay, I've not taught that in this church. The mystery of the children of a serpent. God told me from your mother's side, but there will be an agent planted by the devil in that family, whose assignment is to make sure nobody rises. Particularly if you were a light carrier, you are one that God sent into that family to bring light to that family. They tackle you on every side because they know that your liberation will bring liberation to the entire family. So if they're able to hold you down, the family stays in darkness. I don't think the church is getting it. God told me several things. He said, even if you're not serious with life, even if you're not serious, because I was fasting at a point, I was like, I need to rest. And in one of the middle of the night, I was praying. And I stopped praying, I was meditating, I had the Spirit of God. Very clear. He said, even if you're not serious with life, for the sake of those whose destinies are tied around you. Because if you fail, it's not about you. There are many people that will fail because of your faith. Yes, for their sakes, be serious with life. And there are some of us here who are game changers. You are the light in your family. As you think the devil will take leave, will take a holiday for your sake, at least you must sit up. Satan does not have anything like holiday in his calendar. He goes about like a what? Dead lion. He is not a lion because we are the true lion. The Bible says he goes about like what? Like, not us. He is not one. Because we have the lion of the tribe. That was why the lion couldn't eat Daniel. Lions don't eat lions. Altars. And there are positive altars and there are negative altars. There are good altars and there are bad altars. Now listen, how do you know the presence of an altar? I told us that Israel enjoyed 7 kinds of altars. So when Balaam asked Balak to build 7 altars for him in chapter 23 of Numbers, I was thinking he was trying to copy the number and system of God. And God said no. That the altars that protected Israel are how many? I've told you before, 7 of them. 4 were erected by Abraham, 1 by Isaac, and the other 2 by who? By Jacob. Listen. If you don't have an altar that is speaking for you, I'm talking about a godly altar now, that was intentionally erected by you, or keying into the dimension of an altar that is already existing, life will be very wicked. I've told you life is not a playground. Life is not fair. If I say that, you have been deceiving you. Life will not give you what you want. Life will only yield to you what you conquer. It's a battleground. It's what? I'm not telling you to terrify you, no. There are 2 things everybody you see that is succeeding actually did to the altars in their families. Please listen attentively. It's either they went to appease these altars or they engaged them in battle and conquered them. Mind the right choice. It's either they went secretly. There are pastors who go secretly and appease the altars in their families. And they sit down on the pulpit and they are preaching all kinds of things. And you see all kinds of things happening there. Please, don't be carried by certain results. Results are good. Am I communicating?
Yes, sir.
But you must have the discerning spirit. Is God really behind all of this thing? Or is there any other thing playing the part? And then there are those who confronted it and fought those altars. Yes, God gives us speed, but He's not in a hurry.
No.
He gives supernatural speed, but He doesn't give us what? Because when you hurry, see that you'll meet your end soon. Or you'll get to a point where life becomes empty. He will take you through process. In these processes, He's building you and fortifying. There are altars in families. Now,